Now, joining us, we have Chief Avworo. He is a taxation expert and past president, Cossccima and Dasima. He joins us live from Warri to speak on the call by the 36 governors under the National Economic Council for the president to withdraw the tax reform bills from the National Assembly, as well as other issues. Good evening, and thank you so much for joining us at this time in Galaxy TV.
Good evening.
All right, so what would you say is the basic reason for the rejection of the tax reform bills by state governors?
Thank you very much. I think the rejection is simply based on an inadequate consultation. You recall that last year, the federal government set up a committee to work on a tax reform bill. When you have such a committee, the committee was looking at it from the technocratic and bureaucratic part, while forgetting that there are some political elements involved. Let me explain this. VAT is a tax collected on product sold. Now, the sharing is different. The sharing has some political connotation. If you recall, in 2021, the Rivers State government went to court and actually won a case at the High Court, stating that where the revenue is derived should manage it. The Federal Inland Revenue appealed. Why do they appeal? Because when some tax, the states that are collecting the revenue do not get enough, because tax is shared in such a, VAT is shared in such a way that a certain percentage is on equality, a certain percentage is on population, without giving enough credence to where that revenue is generated. Now, this tax reform bill, those members of NEC that are against it are now looking at it from the political angle. If this bill is passed, are we going to be assured that we're still going to get the same revenue we were getting? That is the political end. And if that is not taken into consideration, even though the federal government says, oh, you should go through the legislative process, you may be assured that during the public hearing, during the voting in the House of Reps, it may not go through, because the powers that benefit from revenue derived from where it is generated, but not where it is actually being checked, will not pass it. So that is my fear. So we must, anything we do in this country, we must be looking at both the practical aspect as well as the political aspect. Thank you.
Okay, all right. So the presidency, however, mounted pressure on the governors against withdrawal of the bill, saying it is not targeted at them. So do you see this affecting how things would run in the states later on?
Definitely. If you know, your bill, your fiscal policies are based on projections. The federal government, in making projections for next year's bill, would have actually started looking at, oh, we're going to get this X, Y more revenue or less, based on the fiscal policies, based on the aspects of the bill that are not just in terms of sharing. There are areas in the bill that hasn't got to do anything with sharing, areas of multiple taxation, new sharing formulas, and so forth. So it definitely will affect it if it is not passed as it is now. Definitely there is an effect. So the implementation of the new tax law will affect our fiscal policy for next year if it is not passed between them.
Right, so right now with the situation of things, what would you advise the presidency and governors to do in ensuring they are on the same page for economic growth?
There should be more consultation. There should be more consultation. Assure the northern group, actually mostly the north, where population favors them, size favors them, that if they are going to accept a new tax regime, that it may not adversely affect their revenue. Two, you also need to assure those that are generated. Big states like Lagos, Rivers, and so forth, where most of the VAT is generated, you also need to assure them that they will not be shortchanged. So what I am saying here is that the federal government should do more consultation. We should share ideas from ground up to the next level. NEC is a very high body in this country. And if they are not carried along, then of course you're going to have failures. So consultations, consultation, consultation, because these are political issues that you must address both politically and holistically. Thank you.
All right, we thank you so much for sharing with us from the wealth of your experiences. Thank you so much for being on Galaxy TV News.
It's been a pleasure. Thank you very much.
All right, that's Chief Avworo, the taxation expert and past president, Cossccima and Dasima.